Hey guys, it's Amber from NotableInk.com, and today I'm sharing how to add dimension to your one-layer cards without adding additional paper layers. I'm featuring the brand new Altenew Build-A-Flower Primrose set. You can create a variety of looks with this set by using all of the layers or just the outlines. I'm starting off with a piece of Savoy 100% cotton paper, and it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is standard A2 size. I traced a rectangle stacking die so that I could use that as the guide to lay down my post-it note tape. I thought that might be a little bit easier than using my grid mat to get them all straight. Here's the Build-A-Flower Primrose set, and I'm going to choose 2 of the outline layers and stamp those in Obsidian Pigment Ink. So this time I just have it on my glass mat. I'm not going to use my MISTI for this. It's just really simple stamping. This paper stamps really great. There is a little bit of a texture to it, but it's a smooth texture. It's not bumpy. The surface is smooth. And this paper can actually accommodate a little bit of water to it. I've watercolored on this paper before, and it handles it quite well. This is actually a letterpress paper, so this would be great to also do some dry embossing on as well. So here I have the watercolor stripe stencil, and I've used the coordinating die to go ahead and cut some masking paper. This will leave a white halo around the flowers, but I'm not worried about that at all. And I've gone ahead and taped my stencil down over the post-it note masking and then also the flower masking. So I'm starting off with some Caribbean Sky and the Altenew blending brush tool, and I'm just going to lightly ink blend over the surface. This paper takes ink blending really well. I did go a little bit darker around the flowers and lighter elsewhere. I'll go ahead and peel off the masking. And this paper, it leaves almost like an airbrushed appearance with the ink blending. It's really nice. If you guys haven't tried this before, I do recommend it. I'll have it linked down below if you want to try it out. It's fun to try something a little bit different than your Neenah. And I'll just use a Sakura Micron Pen 01, and I'm just going to trace that pencil line that I had just to finish off this border and give it a more finished look. If you wanted a thicker border, you could use a thicker fine liner, or you could do 1 or 2 lines, maybe even 3. I think it's nice when it has a sketchy line, which is why I didn't use a ruler. So I'm just going to add a little bit of pencil. This is just a normal household pencil, just to add a little bit of graphite, and then I'm going to use a tortillon or a paper stump to just blend out that graphite and tease it out into the paper. Now this is going to add a drop shadow on the ink blended background, and that's going to help those ink blended lines pop forward and the white areas become recessed. If you wanted a different color, you could try this with color pencils. It's probably not going to blend out with the paper stump color pencils, or you could use tinted graphite pencils. Derwent has a nice set of those, which I've used before in a video, but those are worth checking out as well. So here you can see that I added shadow around the flowers to pop those up, and I stamped the sentiment, which is from the set, in Obsidian Pigment Ink as well. I felt the flowers needed a little bit of color, so I used the smallest layer stamp and added some fresh lemon to the centers, and then just used one of my artist markers to add some orange to the center. So here I have Pink Diamond and one of the stamps from the Apothecary label stamp set. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that twice. Now again, this paper has some texture to it, so you may need to stamp twice to get full coverage for a solid stamp such as this. I've gone ahead and cut a mask because I don't have the coordinating die set for this, but you could also use the dies and leave just a little bit of that halo around the image. I'm going to use those same 2 outline stamps, and I'm going to arrange these around the label so that the flowers are popping out all the way around the perimeter of the Apothecary label. So I'll just make sure I have it where I want it. And here you can see I'm using my MISTI. I could have done this with a stamp block as well, but I thought it would be faster to just go ahead and stamp 2 flowers at once. And these did not need to be stamped twice. So I'm just going to peel up 2 of those, and then I'll go ahead and stamp 2 more flowers in the center. I cut a couple more masks for this. And I'm using my Tim Holtz craft pick here. Not only is it easier to pick up the mask, but also because the mask paper has a little bit of a coated surface, the pigment ink isn't going to dry. It will end up on your fingers, and it's very easy to then just smudge it onto your project. So be really careful when you're lifting up your masking paper. And then I'll go ahead and add a sentiment. Amazing just slightly went over the white line of the Apothecary label, and I felt like the white line wasn't very noticeable, so I'll go ahead and use that same Sakura Micron 01 pen, and I'm going to change that border from white. I'll just trace over it and turn it black. I think this helps the pink pop a little bit more. So here I felt like there was like one petal missing over here in this left-hand corner. It just looked a little bit bare compared to the rest of the composition. So I'm going to put a mask back on, and I'll go ahead and stamp one more petal in that area just to fill it in a little bit more. I rarely create cards that require masking because it's just a little more effort, but when I do, I love to use the mask stencil set that Altenew provides, or use the coordinating dies to create masks. The advantage that you have with the mask stencil sets is that those are the exact same size as the image, whereas the coordinating dies will create a mask that is slightly larger than the image. So if you're looking to have masked images that don't have the halo, then these mask stencil sets are going to be for you. So here you can see I did the bottom and right hand side, and I opted to go all the way around. You can see all of the dimension on the cards here and how it pulls that label forward and recesses the flowers to the back. I hope that you guys enjoyed these projects today. It's a little bit different type of card, a bit of a different technique that you can add to your crafty toolbox. Be sure to join us on the blog hop for more inspiration, and I'll see you real soon. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, liking, and ringing that bell so you don't miss any new inspiration. Here's a couple more videos for you before you leave, and I'll see you real soon.